Good evening. This is Tyrone Gathers Jr., your host of The Source of the Inkwell, live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. You can check out this broadcast in a number of ways. You can hit us up on KUAW.org. You can go to TuneIn. It's an app on your phone that you can download. Type in KUAW Radio. You can also type in KUAW Radio on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and also Facebook Live. You can go to KUAW/LPFM 98.5. If you have an Alexa or an Echo or one of those little smart devices that listen to your house when you don't want it to, you can say play KUAW Radio and then play this broadcast also. Also, one thing I do want to say is KUAW Radio is doing a summer fundraiser. There's information on KUAW's website as well as KUAW's Facebook page. Mr. Walker, what do they get if they donate?
They get a 10-song music pack from jazz artist KUAW.
All right, Carl Rowland is a jazz artist. If you donate, you get a 10-song pack of music. So they can like download not download, but donate like $5 and they get yeah. All right, so there it is. If you donate, then you get like a link to this jazz artist song, 10 songs. So go ahead and do that. Support KUAW so we can do more programming. Right now, KUAW is in the process of doing season 4 of RMS Radio. That's one thing that KUAW does. Is they would reach out to kids and give children an opportunity to, pursue their dreams and have a positive light in broadcast media. Because when we look on the news, we see a lot of negative things about our kids. But KUAW is giving kids an opportunity to not necessarily write the news, but write their own narrative and give a sense of what news look like through their lens. And I'm going to go ahead and use it as a segue to my broadcast today and speak about when I was younger. When I was younger, which wasn't that long ago, one thing I loved doing with my father, Tyrone Classic, was to go to comic book stores. We would go to Clint's Comics over on Main Street. Yeah, rest in peace to the owner of that who passed away recently. We would also go to Culturally Speaking. It used to be on 18th and Vine, and I would go and get comic books that were based on superheroes and superheroines who looked like me. So all my life, I grew up with these comic books, and I would sit and watch all these shows and everything. And I sat back and I reflected all of my favorite superhero teams. The Justice League or the Super Friends when we were kids, the X-Men, of course, the Avengers, all these wonderful teams. Of course, the Numidian Force, which was one of the teams that I used to read over at Culturally Speaking. Omega 7, that was with Alonzo Washington here in town. Matter of fact, Alonzo Washington, if you're listening, you're one of the inspirations that, led me to write, because I remember meeting you at the Black Expo, and you actually autographed comic books for me. That changed my life. I mean, meeting him and having him sign that comic book was like Stan Lee, in my opinion, because he actually wrote the narrative. So I say all that to say that when I was a kid, I had the fantasy of joining one of these superhero teams, being endowed with these powers and joining a team to fight for what's good. So, it was to the point to where, let you in a little secret, I used to even pray about that when I was younger. So I want to give a testimony that God definitely answers prayers, because when I got older, I was blessed with the ability to teach. And after being blessed with the ability to teach, I joined one of the coldest superhero teams out there, and that's education. So for 17 years, I've suited up, and I was on a roster of several different teams to go out and save children from ignorance and to educate them about self, about life, and about this aspects of this earth. So I'm thankful that I have these abilities and I have these powers, and that I'm able to, just like Spider-Man, it was his dream to team with Iron Man. I actually was blessed with the opportunity to be on the same team as teachers that taught me. My Aquilina Perry's and You know, I mean, when I saw that she was on the same team as me, I'm like, wow, you know, I was in your class. So it was a definite plus for me. Now, just like every superhero, a teacher has a weakness as well too, because every superhero has a weakness, and a teacher's weakness is self-doubt, possibly the system. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say it: administration, um, you know, apathy. But right now, teachers, we have a common enemy, and that common enemy is COVID-19. What COVID-19 has done to our profession, it's like Superman being locked in a room full of kryptonite. And we feel powerless. We feel as if we don't have the ability to do what's necessary to yet again save the day for our children. And one thing I will say is that even Superman needs a Justice League. Although he has super in his name, he needs a team to support him. So my show is dedicated to giving teachers a sense of resurgence, a refresher, a second wind. You know, I want teachers to know that, you know, although we're in this situation together and it may seem like we're alone, we're not. So what we need to do as teachers is to go back and kind of remind ourselves that we are super. That not only, I mean, even if we don't see it, we have a bunch of young men and young women who will be seeing us either through a Zoom class, a hybrid model, or if you're lucky, or I'm sorry, if you're blessed, in a situation where you still have your kids in the classroom 100%. Whether you down with being in the classroom or you rather be in the distant learning, when it all comes down to it, our kids need us. So we're going to go ahead and you know, make this happen. Please share this video to all your teacher friends. Matter of fact, I'm about to share this right now to a group of teachers that I was with. This is what we need to get that refresher in. Let me go ahead and save this real quick, or share this real quick. Excuse me for a hot second, because there's a group that actually needs this. Okay. All right, so first things first, I made a comment where I said that, you know, we're a team. Now, in order for a teacher to, you know, in order for a super teacher to feel like they're wanted or that they're needed, what we need to do is to surround ourselves around other super teachers. A close friend of mine and I always say that iron sharpens iron. So what you need to do is get with other super teachers and breathe the success together. Success breeds success. You'll often see that successful people surround themselves around other successful people. Case in point, I know it's a low blow, but there are a lot of people who made billions and billions of dollars off this whole COVID-19 pandemic because they all got together, came up with a plan, and made all this money. Teachers, get together with other teachers and plan successful lessons, successful programs, and successful resources for your students and for their families. Get together and do that. Success breeds success. Make plans off of one another. Get ideas off of one another. Super teachers are no different. I mean, we're in a situation right now where it may be difficult to teach a particular lesson. Or for example, in my class, in my building, I will be the first one to admit that I don't know much about technology when it comes to this Zoom and all this innovative stuff. So what I did was I went and teamed up with another teacher who was more savvy in it, and she was able to assist me. So it's okay to ask for help. If you're in a situation where the odds are against you, reach out for help and allow another super teacher to come and lend you their helping hand. I mean, we're a team. You know, they always say we're in this together, but literally, teachers, we are in this together. Now, they always say that we are judged by the company that we keep. So, when you see a super teacher, it doesn't, I mean, don't let it take long to associate yourself with that particular super teacher. Join up with that super teacher and collaborate. Teamwork and collaboration is what makes teaching inspiring. We cannot do it by ourselves. All right, next one. Super teachers they don't mind getting their hands dirty. Oh, hold on real quick. Sorry about that. Super teachers don't mind getting their hands dirty. And when I say that, if there's a job in front of you that's a very tedious job, a hard job, an impervious job, a super teacher will roll their sleeves up and dive in there and make it happen, despite the results. Because when it all comes down to it, trying and making it happen is what super teachers do. Now, when I say that there are situations where teachers sometimes, we have a situation right now where we have this online teaching or this hybrid model. A super teacher, you may express your concern or your opinion. However, it does not supersede what is best for your students. Get in there and get the job done. Work with other super teachers to make it happen. Now, we all know those few teachers who participate in activities. Just like when you go to church and they say that when you go to church, you're not supposed to go and just sit there. You're supposed to be active. Well, a super teacher is active in their schools too. Whether you're online or in the building, a super teacher needs to remain active because that's your job. So with saying that, a super teacher is not afraid to get involved. No task is too small or too large for them not to get involved in. It seems that whenever you turn your head or look around, you always see that super teacher making it happen. And they're always the first to arrive and the last to leave. And also, and I got to, work on this myself, they are also the least likely to complain about the job. These are ones that you can trust and know there's going to be a successful year or a successful situation because they are your leaders. Now, I know some of your buildings have teacher leaders. Your teacher leaders should be individuals who aren't afraid to get in there and lead by example. See, think about that. In the Avengers, you got Captain America. That man don't take any sick days. He's always up in there making it happen. They throw him back in time, wipe his mind out. He's making it happen. Same with Justice League. Batman's always there, broken ribs and everything. Not afraid to get their hands dirty. A super teacher's up in there. They're leading by example. They're showing you how the job is done. They are modeling the behavior that needs to be modeled to students. So get your hands dirty, be a leader, and show people how the job should be done. And also while you're, someone made a comment that said that a good leader serves. Well, in a good school setting where you have those super teachers, they don't mind showing up and saying, hey, you know what? I don't need any credit for this. It's not about me. The glory don't go to me. You got to watch them folk to walk up in there and do a job and say, hey, I did all that. They're not a hero. That's something villains do. All right. This kind of walks in to my next comment. Super teachers never run away from a challenge. We're sitting up here right now on the cusp of a situation where our kids really need us. If this is your first year or your 100th year, I guarantee you out of all your years in life teaching, this is probably the most crucial year because I've seen teachers quit, threaten to quit, walk away, leave the school high and dry without teaching anybody. That's not good. We are the line of defense, whether you like it or not. When you sign that contract, to educate children. Now, I'll admit, if there are certain things where you can't do the job, it is what it is. You do what you got to do. However, when you are teaching, Your job is to get the information to these students. I mean, walking away from the job because you ain't getting your way. I'm sorry, you're not getting your way. It's not productive. It's not good. And I'm speaking to myself and everybody else too, because when it comes down to it, we all have that situation to where it's like, dang man, I don't want to be here. But right now, I'm gonna be real with you. I understand walking away from a job because your administrator lies on you, or does something disrespectful, or if you don't feel like you're getting the credit that you deserve, or because you just don't feel like you're valued. But right now, this COVID-19, it's not the kid's fault. It's not your school's fault. It happened. Think about that. Asteroids coming to Earth right now. Superman got the ability to bust the asteroid up. He don't feel like doing it. What happens? Devastation. So teachers, if you walk away from your job right now, devastation will follow. So this is a challenge. Now, there are people that used to always say, this is not my problem. This is not my problem. They understand that the whole school is a delicate ecosystem. And, they don't understand that the school is a delicate ecosystem, and even a minor disruption on a sector could eventually cause the downfall of an entire school. Well, right now, yeah, there is something that's not our problem. I'm sorry, it's not our, we didn't make it happen. COVID-19 is making it everyone's problem. It is. And the problem is, despite this pandemic, these children still need to be educated. This probably is or probably will be the biggest challenge that you will endure. And it needs to be overcome. The good thing about challenges is they become obstacles, and we can bust right through them. Okay. Next one. Super teachers are prepared for everything. Now, of course, you're gonna say, well, no one's prepared for everything. Now, think about this. Batman has a utility belt, and it seems like Batman has a gadget for everything in that belt. For example, Poison Ivy kisses him. Guess what? He doesn't get sick because he puts some lip gloss on that stops the poison. Mr. Freeze freezes him. Well, he reaches inside of his utility belt, pulls out a blowtorch. Batman gets thrown off a roof. Guess what? Batman pulls a contraption out, a grapple hook out, shoots it, and is able to swing away. Batman is stranded. He talks into his remote control. His car pulls up. After a long day of work, Batman is hungry and wants a sandwich. He pushes a button. Alfred comes in with a sandwich. And I believe, Mr. Walker, Batman likes a turkey sandwich with bacon, lettuce, with the crust cut off, cutting diagonals. So, I say all that to say, Batman is prepared, not because he has everything in there. No, he doesn't know what's going to happen. What he does is he prepares himself for every situation possible that he might endure. A good teacher must prepare themselves for every possible situation that they might endure. I remember when I first started teaching, my old school teacher, shout out to Westport Middle, miss y'all, love y'all, wish I was working with y'all right now. But when it comes down to it, they told me, Tyrone, when you write a lesson plan, you shouldn't just have one lesson plan. You need to have a lesson plan in case that one messes up. And then have one in case that one messes up too. You never know. Technology might break down. What are you gonna do? You might have a lesson to where it might not work with a certain group of kids. Do you have a backup? So I always have a plan that backs up a plan that backs up a plan that backs up a plan. So, also, we were talking today at work with some team members, and they were talking about, one of the coworkers said, well, I may not need the thing that you're sharing with me, but I still hold on to it. I said, brother, you didn't offend me. As long as you got it in your repertoire, it is what it is. Always build up your repertoire. Always build it up. Last time I checked, Iron Man has tons and tons of suits for a reason. That man got a suit for everything. He got a suit for underwater. He got a suit for going to space. He got a suit for going invisible. He got a suit for fighting the Hulk. He got a suit for going out for drinks after saving the day. He has suits for everything. So make sure you have lesson plans for everything. Be prepared. Also, I got one for you, teachers. Have a lesson plan set up so if a parent wants to further what you're doing, Have a lesson plan set up to where parents can easily take it and implement it at home. So you're adding another team member to your roster. Now, nothing is more unpredictable than having a class full, and I really hope you don't have 40 plus people in your classroom. But super teachers start every day hoping for the best. No, the key word is hoping for the best. We all know that when we're in a situation, something's going to happen. Now, if a teacher tells you they went through a whole school day with nothing happening, it wasn't an eventful day. It's never a dull moment for us. All right? It's never a dull moment. So, but at the same time, when we hope for the best, there's always the worst that'll pop up in there and touch on something. So we're saying that we have have yourself with enough experience to prepare yourself for that curveball. That's what I talked about earlier, because something's going to happen. Something will always happen to throw a monkey wrench in there. See, when you're trying to do good, something always going to come in there to mess it up. So make sure you have enough preparation to where if there's something going on, then within a knee-jerk reaction, boom, I got something else. Or if you don't have another plan, make sure you have a team member you can call on. I know I got a couple, and I hope they're watching right now because I really appreciate y'all holding me down last week and this week because it was rough. So, now, the key thing I want teachers to add to their repertoire, this is a key thing. I want you to remember to breathe before ever addressing a situation with this. Breathe. Take a breath. And calm down and realize, I can do this. And if I need assistance, I got this person here. All right. Next one. Super teacher. This is a good one. They know their superpowers. Remember on that that movie, X-Men First Class? Well, the brother got up and said, "What do you do?" And the guy said, "Watch this." He puts his head up on the water and makes gills pop up on his neck. He asked somebody else, "What do you do?" She said, "I can change and look like anybody else." He said, "What do you do?" The guy said, "I can shoot out rings of fire and burn stuff." Then they pointed to a teacher. And they said, "What do you do?" That teacher says, "I inspire." So, we're saying that a teacher needs to know their power. Now, I know that I'm good at building relationships. I'm good with classroom management. I'm good with effective instruction and innovative instruction. I know that. However, if I can do that, I'm going to team myself up with someone who has skills that I lack in. Case in point, I was reading a comic book, and for some strange reason, a portal opens up, and all these superheroes start flying out of the sky. Captain America yells out, "If you can fly, grab someone that can't fly." And when we saw that, you saw people using their powers to assist others who couldn't do it. I have an issue with technology. So today, shout out to Miss Amanda Tote, went to her classroom, she got me straight. So technology is her thing. And she does a real good job with it. Another situation, I had an issue. Sat there and prayed to God for a miracle. I said, "God, I need a miracle." And around the corner, Donnell Fletcher comes in. So he used his ability with coaching to help me out. So align yourself with people who know their powers and make sure your powers are a healthy contrast to other people on your team. Now, self-awareness is a buzzword that has recently resurfaced. But with any cliche, it still has value because after all, there is a reason why I became one in the first place. If you were a teacher and you know your strength, then you heavily rely on your strength during the school day. There's a guy downstairs who is extremely good with not only technology, but this man integrates technology in lessons. So, as a matter of fact, he gave a training on it. So we see him as an expert. And not only is he an expert, but he's training other individuals to do the same thing that he's doing. So, if you are a good teacher, a super teacher and you know your super teaching power, you also know your weakness, but you are not consumed by your weakness. Case in point, Superman's weakness is kryptonite. He is not consumed by it. Even though one situation kryptonite was injected in the man's veins, he still went through and fought through it. Captain America depends on his shield. His shield was broken. What did he do? He kept making it happen. Thor's hammer was broken. What did he do? He realized the power within and he kept moving forward. My weakness is technology. I did not let that defeat me. What did I do? I went and I allowed my coworkers, my team members to equip me with those skills. So when you see you have a weakness, you align yourself with people or self and work your way through the issue. Don't make yourself succumb or consumed by it. Now, a super teacher also works tirelessly to get their crafts up. For example, the X-Men have the danger room. They go in that danger room, I don't know how often. I mean, I'm assuming it's a lot. And they type in a scenario, and on the screen or in the room is something to exercise their power. Teachers, you must exercise your superpowers and also exercise your weaknesses too, because you want to be as strong as possible. We need each other to be on their A game, pun intended. We need each other to be a strong, high levels of intellect, high levels of strength and resistance to endure what we got going on this school year. All right. And it's always good to watch the strengths of others and improve upon your own too. Okay. Next, super teachers know that they're constantly being watched. Your life is in a fishbowl. If you are, now I got taught that by Miss Lottie Lawrence. She kind of helped me get my start, and I always think about that all the time. You are always being watched. Now, here's the thing. I remember, complaining about being watched and being messed with at work. Well, my elders in the profession said, well, you must be doing something right, because people always watch and mess with those who got something going on. Every superhero needs a rogues gallery. Now, sometimes a super teacher, their arch nemesis, may be another teacher. I had a coworker tell me that she was offended. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say offended. She didn't like it when I referred to her as a nemesis. And I said, well, if you think about it, a nemesis is something that you cannot defeat because it is a part of you. And if you do defeat it, then you no longer exist. A nemesis is an individual that helps you to motivate yourself to be better. For example, Batman would not exist if he took out the Joker. Captain America and the Red Skull. Superman, Lex Luthor. So think about that. St. George, the dragon. So when I say that, you got to find out who that nemesis is and let that nemesis motivate you, because they're always watching you. Now, I posted something on Facebook not too long ago where I said there's a new movie coming out called Karen's in the School. Pretty much, you have people, talking about you, telling on you. Now, since I've been back in my building, I've heard other teachers in other buildings say that this whole telling thing is starting to become rampant. Well, I look at it like this. If someone's telling on you, then maybe you give them something to watch. It is what it is. If someone's watching you, be the star of the show, be the director of the show, and dictate what they see. Let them see something that they can actually learn from. So, I know right now that when you're on the on your virtual classrooms, some teachers or some school districts are requiring you to share not only your classroom with your students and parents, but also administration in your building, coordinators in your building, superintendents possibly, or or whoever. I wouldn't look at that as pressure. Look at that as an opportunity for people to see how well that you do. Uh, like for example, Spider-Man has J. Jonah Jameson. He's the editor of the newspaper, and he's always trying to publish negative stuff about Spider-Man. However, Spider-Man always turns that negative into a positive. Turn the negative of people constantly watching you into a positive. Let them see how resilient you are. Let them see how good you are. Let them see how well you work with those kids in that classroom. Let them see that, hey, we can't mess with this person because those kids love what they're doing. Those kids are learning. It's easy to get lost in the island that's your classroom. Because, see, think about that. Back before this whole COVID thing hit, you can close that door and nobody walked up in your classroom. And if they did, they either knocked or you heard them keys jingle. And when you heard them keys jingle and someone was coming in your door, you knew, okay, y'all, let's switch it up. So we don't have that luxury anymore. Because if we share our Zoom classroom, guess what? Someone can pop in whenever they want and watch what's going on. Don't let that intimidate you. Still be you. Still do what you do. Now, sometimes we can almost forget that there are repercussions for actions in the classroom. There are still repercussions for actions in a virtual classroom too. Don't give people an opportunity to set you up on something. Still govern yourself as a hero online that you would do in the classroom as well. Don't be off your game. Still save the day for those students. I don't care if they got Channel 9 News, CNN, Donald Trump, who else is out there watching, folk? Big Brother, Little Sister, I don't care. Man, still do what you do. Now, of course, we're used to those, 40 pairs of eyes and ears. But now you got the kids watching you, the parents watching you, everybody's watching you. Give them a show. Make it happen. You know what? If that doesn't work, tune them out. Only focus on what's important. See, a superhero, they know the whole world's watching them, but they don't even matter. What matters is the people that they're trying to save. So super teachers, what should matter to what's going on is those kids. Man, forget everybody else. Because when it all comes down to it, those children rely on you to save the day for them. Not the principal, not the superintendent. Shoot, in most cases, not even the parents. So teachers, we are very important. Let's have a comment here. That's a really good idea, TG. Zoom in the classroom for parents. Oh, yeah, thank you, Mr. Tyson. All right, so at the same time, don't forget that you're being watched too. Don't get out there and get too comfortable and say something that you regret, because last time I checked, Zoom has a little recording feature on there and you got to record them. And you don't want to say something crazy to where you're being recorded and then you got to be in someone's office because you said something. Now, teachers, it's okay to be comfortable but not complacent. I remember someone said, hey man, you real cool, real calm. I said, let me let you on a little secret. I allow myself to get nervous every class period. And one of my students said, well, why do you do that? I said, when I'm slightly nervous, a little bit of nervousness, I'm able to control myself. I'm able to control what's going on. Because if I get too cocky, I just shoot from the hip. You don't want to get too complacent. You want to be able to control what's going on. You want to be able to not make a mistake. You're making yourself more aware of what's going on. Because when you are allowing yourself to let Freddy Fear tap you on the shoulder, as Rocky Balboa said, Freddy Fear keeps you on your toes. Because you always know something can happen. And you got to make sure you don't make that happen. That negative thing happen. All right, let's see what we got next. Super teachers are aware of the unrealistic expectations that society has of them. Woo, that's deep. See, if you read comic books or watch, the TV show like Watchmen or stuff like that. A superhero, for the most part, there are some people in society that hate what you do. They hate the fact that you can leap tall buildings in a single bound. They hate the fact that you can run as fast as lightning. They hate the fact that you can crawl up on walls or interface with technology. Or they hate the fact that you're rich. There are people out there right now that hate the fact that teachers teach. They hate you because you can teach. They hate you because you can inspire. And the reason why they hate you is because they can't do it. Or that you can motivate a child to the point to where you're giving them the keys to unlock the potential within them to be greater than self. Because see, a good teacher's goal is to make that little third grader stronger than what that super teacher was when they were a third grader. Real talk, man. I mean, like, I'm the kind of teacher that I wish I'm the kind of teacher to my students that I wish I had at a young age. That's what motivates me. And I know that that's not a popular thing to do. I mean, there are parents out there. Now, you know what? Let me jump off the whole parent thing, because we're allies. I used to work for, I'll go ahead and say it, Kaufman Scholars. And while I was there, the good thing about that is not only did we give students scholarships, but we educated them on skills to help them keep their scholarship. So really, we're an ally to the schools. Well, there was a group of kids that came from a charter school. And while they were in our program, that group of kids loved coming to my classroom, and they loved the things that went on in my room. And there was this thing that I did where I would give kids nicknames. And if you're any of my old students, you know that Mr. Gathers loves giving kids nicknames because that made you feel a part of the classroom. Well, of course, the kids went back to their school, and they were talking about all the good lesson that we had, and they loved their nicknames. So the teacher said, well, what are your nicknames? And of course, the teacher wasn't too fond of me because I don't, in no shape, form, or fashion am I being arrogant. I'm just telling you like it is. She didn't like the fact that I had a stronger connection with her students than she did. So she calls my supervisors at Kaufman Scholars and takes what the kids said and flipped it. Instead of saying Mr. Gathers gave the kids fun nicknames, she said Mr. Gathers is bullying the kids and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the kids and their parents said, no, that's not even true. So I say that to say that when you're doing something good, there's an unrealistic expectation of you. For example, I'm a black man teaching English, and I'm certified in history as well. It's not common for me to do this. So of course, when I walk into a classroom to this day, I have people that look at me like, wow, what is that? What is that doing here? That's an anomaly. Some of my female teachers, same thing. They get it a lot too. So, and I'm not just, I only mentioned myself and female teachers because of, they were the first that came to mind. But every teacher can tell you a situation where they had an issue where they had an unrealistic expectation. Another unrealistic expectation is where an administrator comes to you and tells you, I expect all of these children to be at 100%. That's extremely unrealistic. Okay? I expect 100% growth in this month's time. That's unrealistic. We're thrown with unrealistic expectations all the time. And then, of course, you got society saying what they feel we should do. For example, we have people that never taught in the classroom, doesn't know what we do, hasn't seen the inside of a classroom, not there for their students who are in a classroom, trying to tell us how we should function within a classroom. And that's what we got going on right now, teachers. COVID has set up an unrealistic expectation for teachers across the United States. It is extremely unrealistic and uncomfortable. You know, parents and school management often have an unrealistic expectation in regards for us being miracle workers. Okay? There are situations where there are kids who people expect us to make a miracle within a school year's time. And we all know that children are evolutionary beings. They evolve based on the content that is given to them. I mean, last time I checked, it's very rare for a child to be a nuclear physicist after 1 year. It's very, and I say rare because in my profession we don't say can't. Okay, it's all about being probable. You know, it's not a high probability for a classroom full of kids who are first year Spanish speakers to master the language within that school year's time. Patience is a strong virtue with us. And for some strange reason, society feels that it's an unrealistic expectation to be patient for teachers. Now, of course, I've worked and I currently work with some cold teachers who has done things that astounded me. However, when it comes down to it, you got to have realistic expectations even of teachers who are super. I mean, even Superman has limits. Now, with saying that, we have the pressure is there. The pressure of challenges rise for us to make things happen, but without compromising values. And I say that to say that if there's an unrealistic expectation, I've known teachers to manipulate data in order for them to look good on a report to their administrator. Look, keep it real, because if you're doing that, I mean, you're selling yourself out for an unrealistic expectation. Don't do that. Show them, hey, look, this is where I failed, and I failed because I need this. It's okay to fail, but when you fail, come with a solution to the problem. That's realistic. Lying about stuff is unrealistic. So teachers, don't sell out. If it's hard for you right now, going in this school year under COVID, let them know, hey, you know what? I can make this job happen, but I need this too. Now, I will say in my district, we were given tools to be successful. I know in other districts, they're given tools to be successful. So request that. And if your school's not going to give it to you, man, I'm telling you, hit up those parents. Talk to individuals that support your school. Because although society has unrealistic expectations, society as a whole does not. I remember I came up with a program, and a board member came to me and said, hey, Tyrone, if you need funding for this, holla at me. I got you. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I don't even know you, and you want to cut me a check? So there are people out there that love what you do. Find them. Okay. Don't hesitate to let the opposition know what you need to make the job better or to make the job more feasible. Because in that Batman versus Superman, Batman saw that Superman can lift things and punch things he can't do. So what did he do? He went and got himself a super suit and a kryptonite spear to make it happen. Tony Stark realized, hey, this little suit I got, man, it can't fight that Hulk. So let me get a Hulk Buster. Black Panther got whooped up by Killmonger. What did he do? Hey, I need that herb again. So get the tools you need to make it happen for your students. Okay, let's see. What do we have next? Super teachers make a positive difference. I know it's a cliche, but teachers do make a difference. So, thus by far, a super teacher, your greatest power is making a difference. I don't care if you're in a situation where you have an unruly classroom. I guarantee you, you're making a difference. I had a kid come to me, and this kid, man, I'm telling you, this kid brought me to my breaking point. It's my first year teaching. I couldn't stand that kid. And I feel as a teacher I can say that. All right, because I mean, you know, it was a personality thing. This guy's personality and mine, it clashed. And I'm like, man, this kid, he made his point to come in class and interrupt and disrupt. So about 10 years later, this young man comes to me and says, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you registered to vote?" And I turned around and I said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "Mr. Gathers?" And I said, "Kid, what's up?" He said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "I just want to let you know, man. I know I was cutting up in your class, but I was really listening to what you were saying." And I said, "Man, you know what? I can tell because you out here registering folk to vote." And I said, "Hey, I respect that." And he said, "Yeah, man, I just, want to thank you for what you did for me." And that kind of got to me a little bit because I didn't think the kid, listened. And he walked away and I said, "Man, you stay up." He said, "You too." And I said, "Hey, one more thing." He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Man, pull your pants up." And he looked at me and smiled and said, "All right, yeah, I got you." And he pulled his pants up, went to somebody else, getting them registered to vote. So we make a difference whether we realize it or not. I mean, I guarantee you, if you had like a real bad year, and God got a way of tapping you on your shoulder and saying, "Look, that kid right there is where they are because of what you did." So, we are driven by our desire to improve the world one child at a time. It's realistic to improve one child at a time. And when you improve that one child, then that one child improves, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And you start a chain reaction. Like that parable. I can either give you a fish and feed you for a day, or I can teach you to fish and you can feed yourself for a lifetime. And then in turn, you teaching others to do the same thing. And that's what we do. We are aware of the great power that we possess. And with that great power comes great responsibility. Yes, I quoted Uncle Ben. With great power does come great responsibility. So we need to be responsible with what we do. And when I say responsible, we need to, first of all, let students know that we're there for them, and also empower students to empower themselves and to empower each other. And teach parents to teach their students when we're not on the video. Now, super teachers also go beyond of what's expected. They go beyond of doing good, and they're great. Note I said super. I didn't say good teachers. I said super teachers. And it's never a rest time for you because you're always trying to improve your craft for the benefit of your students. You all do super. We do super. And we also inspire others to do that. Now, I'm going to admit, there's a teacher I just don't like. I don't like the person. Can't stand them. However, there are things that teacher does that I love because although we personally don't agree with each other and we don't like each other, I love what you're doing for those kids. I love the fact that you're researching for your students, that you're available for your students, that you are up with the game with your students, that your kids and your parents can come to you when they got a jam. I love that about you. And hopefully, the teacher I just don't like, I hope that you're watching this, and I want you to know that although we don't like each other, one thing we have in common is that when we do work together, those kids have a cold team behind them. Because like I teach my students, sometimes the people that you work with the best is the ones that you don't like. Because you're putting your friendship or your relationship on the back burner. It's not about all that. What it's about is the job. And the job is the profession. And our profession is educating students. Okay. I want you all to think who, you are. I mean, those who are watching this, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a student, I want you to think about everything I just talked about today on this broadcast. I want you to think about all the skills that I've talked about, and I also want you to think about all the skills that you feel a super teacher should possess. And as you're thinking about those skills, think about someone that exemplifies what a super teacher does or is. And once you have that person in your mind, if you know them, reach out to them and tell them, I support what you do. Because we need to hear it. We need to hear it. I mean, there are times where we are just worn out. We feel defeated. However, the thing that keeps us going is looking and seeing those 40 plus eyes watching us. Those um uh those hands raising, needing something from us. Those parents saying, "Hey, this is the man, this is the woman that I trust with my children." Be that support system for that super teacher, because we are going in it, y'all. COVID-19 has made itself an adversary. Note, I didn't say a nemesis. An adversary is what you can and will defeat. And COVID-19 is not going to defeat us. We are going to defeat it this school year and crush it with these kids. I know it sounds like a cliche, but teachers, we must assemble and team up and equip ourselves with a roster of individuals that have the same goal in mind. Although they may think different, teach different, dress different, inspire different, when it all comes down to it, we on the same team, y'all. And our goal is to save the day for our students, because they are relying on us. The parents are relying on us as well too. I mean, we have a very important job. We have a strong task. And we can make this happen through collaboration. I remember Mr. Leon Dixon, who is someone who I have a deep respect for, who is also one of the founders of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. He said something that stuck with me for 7 years. He said, he said, collaboration goes to the organized. And when you're organized, you receive power. We need to make this a powerful school year and surround ourselves around people who want to make this happen. Now, of course, there are some people that don't want to be a part of it. Hey, let them be inspired by what you're doing with other individuals to make this situation a great year. We can do this. It's time to assemble. It's time to throw that symbol up in the sky. It's time to bang that drum and rally together. Because not only do the students need us, teachers, we need each other. I'm Tyrone Gathers Jr. You've been watching The Source of the Inkwell. And in the inkwell, education overflows. And just like ink, it stains permanent. Make it happen. Let's make it a great school year. God bless. See you next week.
A national recording artist called Roland, and I am a proud supporter of KUAW's Summer Fun Drive, and I've got something special in store for you. So come on and join me. Head to KUAW.org and donate now. There is no minimum, but your support of $5, $25, or even $100, it doesn't matter. Whatever you choose will support the community station that gives back to you through knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And just for being a value listener and supporter, I'd like to give to you my complimentary 10-song smooth CD music pack featuring my new hit single, A Natural High. So don't hesitate. Donate now. And hey, it's even tax deductible. And did I mention I'll be giving to you my 10-song smooth CD music pack? You can't beat that hookup. So I'm going to go ahead now and thank you for your donation.
Be sure and include your email address and we will send you information to receive your 10-song CD pack. Thank you for supporting KUAW Radio.